Thanks so much, Georgi, for this interesting perspective. And I would now introduce our last speaker. I think it's hard to be the last after such a tiring day. George Roman from Save the Children Romania. George works as a program director, being responsible for different programs for children in difficult situations. He's been working in the field of child protection for almost 16 years now, so quite a lot of experience. And in 2008, he became the project coordinator for the Romanian Safer Internet Node. We have already heard the morning from the European Commission that the safer internet nodes are encouraged to set up national youth panels through which children would be consulted on safer internet issues. And this last presentation will exactly focus on showing such a consultation platform, which is in Romania called the National Children's Forum Against Online Violence. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. Yeah, I'm the last. Hopefully I won't be the last in my presentation. I know that I feel some tiredness, in the room. I feel also tired. Maybe we need energizing something. I'm not very good in that, but I will present you an example of how children could be involved, how important children are, to be part of our actions, to be always asked and concerned about the issues that will affect or are affecting their life. That's why we think that child participation, when we talk about the process of taking decisions, is very important. Sometimes politicians are listening to children easier than listening to us, because they have their own reasons and they know how to present it. So children's panel will be maybe I don't know the experience in the room about how we can involve children and organize panels with them. But I think that it's important to keep always children together with us in our programs. So what I like to present you is this forum we organize every year since 2000. So we had the 10th edition this year, and we choose together with children a theme for the next year. This year we talk about violence, including also online violence. We had topics like trafficking, we had topics like child labor, access to education, violence, children's councils in schools. So various topics that should be debated by children and then followed by recommendations that are presented to authorities, being put together in one room like this one, and have to discuss about 3-4 hours, maybe more, about what they should change in their life. Before that, I will, in 1 minute, present our organization. It was established in 1990. It's a very large organization. We already have 13 local branches, many members, thousands of members, and about 1,000 persons who are involved voluntarily in our activities. Of course, most of them are young people, but we also rely sometimes our activities on adults or teachers mainly. Our mission is to give children a better world, to do everything that concerns children's rights in order to make a world which respects and values these rights, which listens to children and learns when children have opportunities, and when children are protected for any type of violence, abuse, or exploitation. Our central document is the UN Convention on Children's Rights, and we have as target groups mostly children who are in difficulty situations. From this year now, we also we will tackle the issue of online on safer internet for children. The node is very new. I think we are the newest node in the pan-European Safer Internet Network. We had only 2 weeks. We just organized a meeting with the advisory board and we are tracing now, the priorities for the next 3 months. The node is developed by 2 non-governmental organizations, it's Save the Children, as a national coordinator, Romanian Center for Missing and Sexually Exploited Children, Focus. They will take care of hotline, having already experience in working directly with police on reports concerning missing children, and Positive Media as a technical organization which gives us all details concerning the technical issues. Before sending the application, we could attract and invite and then convince many authorities to sign agreements in order to have concrete cooperation in the future. And as a node, we aim to combat illegal or harmful content and most of what we already have discussed today. Before talking about forum, I think it's important to put this presentation in the framework of a multi-annual national campaign against violence. We began this campaign in 2000, and we think that any campaign should have a very long perspective and should be sustained year by year, because in terms of violence you cannot change things overnight. It's a battle with the mentality, and that's very difficult to be changed. So as priorities, we had in mind to ban corporal punishment of children in the law. This is the beginning. If you have a support like this, you can think to talk on, based on this success, about other things like security and safety of children in schools, in communities, in families, so on. And at the same time, we wanted to promote the principle of non-violent relationships between adults and children. The target groups, of course, are the members of the government and the parliament, and then the professionals who are working with children, teachers, parents, other caretakers, and children and youth. The message was, beaten is not from heaven. We have in Romania a very largely known, saying, beaten is from heaven. Every child, I mean, everybody who lived in Romania knows about, and I just heard that Albania has the same saying, exactly the same. So we had to combat these kind of sayings, going directly in what we think that it's what it was in depth of the Romanian thinking about relationships between adults and children. We also we based our activity on 5 counseling centers for children victims of violence, sexual abuse, and trafficking. So we were having activities directly with children, and we could base our arguments on our own work. As activities in time, we did researches. We also organized debates in Parliament. We organized street campaigns. We organized national forums with children specialists, and we edited a lot of brochures and guides. And we went to the Parliament. On the right side of the page, there is a manifest signed by a lot of important politicians, and not only, also VIPs. And based on that, we could call the 5th of June National Day Against Child Abuse, being officially National Day Against Child Abuse. Authorities and non-governmental organizations are organizing every year on 5th of June activities, debates, or they're launching campaigns or books on violence. And we changed the law. 272 includes now specific articles on banning corporal punishment in any environment. We also any other form of humiliating treatment, like verbal aggressiveness, which is very important for a child, which affects the life of the child in the family. So we edited posters. We made public in different areas of the capital. Together with the Ministry of Education Research, we created a training course for teachers. They can get points. It's important for their professional life, for their career, and they pay for that. There are experts who are coming about 5-6 days, 8 hours per day, and they are learned on positive disciplined methods concerning their relationship with children. We open 5 centers of resources for parents. There are a lot of public debates, and we have a website, Education Without Violence. And now we arrive at the National Children and Youth Forum, which was called We Offer Solutions to Stop Violence. It is a free, a 4-day meeting. The partners the main partner was the High-Level Group for Children in Romania. This is an interministerial working group. There are NGOs, members of the working group, the National Authority for the Protection of Children's Rights, and the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology. The objective was to identify concrete and efficient actions for preventing and fighting violence, and then to be presented by children themselves to the responsible authorities, and to introduce them in a national plan for preventing and fighting against violence, which will be finalized at the end of this year. Participants were children from the whole country, volunteers, beneficiaries, small children from our projects, aged 12 to 18 from Bucharest and other 13 counties. On 3rd and 4th June, children were introduced to the subjects, and they were coordinated by volunteers. 5 minutes. Children have drafted proposals after 2 days of debates, and proposals were discussed with all participants and Save the Children personnel at the end of these 2 days. On 5th June, we had a visit to the Parliament in front of a commission. They presented their conclusions. And then at the Ministry of Communication and New Technologies, they confronted, about 5-6 representatives of different ministries with very concrete recommendations. The forum was organized in 6 sub-themes, let's say. One was about legislation measures, and these were their recommendations. Training courses on positive methods of education should be compulsory for parents. This is very important. A national curricula for the grades 3rd to 12 on civic education, and introduce the subject of violence as compulsory. And create the independent institution of children's ombudsman. We have people's ombudsman, but he is not very active on children. Having this issue just one of the 12, I think, big issues in their activity. The second sub-theme was the violence prevention. They thought that it's better to have free mediation services to intervene in crisis situations of domestic violence, which is a great idea. To include applied psychology classes from 5th to 8th, for their knowledge, and to ban the TV news and shows with violent content at prime time. But they make a lot of money from this bad news. The third sub-theme was intervention in cases of abuse, training courses for all teachers on management of difficult behavior at school, create a national code of positive education, the 10 rules, At least one community policeman should be active around every school, and a mobile team with specialists from City Hall that have outreach activities in the community. The fourth was on psychological testing for all the specialists working with children. I would like to mention creating a unique database of the teachers online, which could be, accessed by everybody, and creating another unique database of social workers with the same treatment. And the school mediation tribunals, courts, whatever, that must function in every school and which must intervene in a crisis situation. The fifth was on children participation in preventing and fighting violence. They thought that an anti-violence caravan could be one of their own activities where they can give us all support, empowering the students' councils, which are not working very well nowadays, and the translation of all legislations in child-friendly language. And Safer Internet versus online violence, that was the sixth sub-theme. This is part of their own presentation, so they know what is violence and they see it almost every day. And they think that we must train the teachers' parents through a joint program between the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Communication. And using filters and establishing a special department. I must say that in Romania there are about 4,500,000 children, and 3 million have every day access to internet. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with very small amount of money. With 10 euros you can get a broadband connection in Romania and a free phone line. So we could say that maybe in the future, including also villages, all kids in couple of years, they will have every day access to the internet. These recommendations are included in the report, and the report will be used for the National Plan Against Violence. Our responsibility is to monitor and to lobby on the implementation of children's proposals. We have a committee with children involved, and we have to involve all kids from these places in our country about the steps taken and about the solutions we found together with the authorities. This is my presentation. Thank you very much.